My beloved ones, God and the devil are not enemies. They are partners in the same firm. One creates the illness, the other sells the medicine. The word devil and the word divine both come from the same Sanskrit root, deva. It is not a coincidence. The devil is the other side of God. They are not two, they are one. Just as your left hand and your right hand are yours, God and the devil are two hands of the same organic unity. The day the devil dies, God will not be able to live for a single moment more. He can only exist because of the devil. The devil is the very foundation of all your holy religions. Without the devil, who will you fear? And if there is no fear, you will never go to the temple or the church. Read the word devil backwards, it becomes lived. This is a great secret. If you don't live your life fully, if you repress your desires, that unlived life becomes the devil. The devil is nothing but your own life energy turned sour because it was not allowed to flower. Live totally and the devil disappears. Only the lived remains. God and the devil are not enemies. They are partners in the same firm. One creates the fear, the other provides the protection for a price. It is the greatest business ever invented by the mind of man. A truly free person has no God and no devil. A free person has only a deep, silent, meditative consciousness. The devil was the first rebel. He was the first to say no to the establishment. In that sense, every seeker of truth has a little bit of the devil in them, because you cannot find the truth unless you are capable of saying no to all the lies that have been imposed upon you by the past. I see you searching. I see you struggling. I see you divided. For centuries you have been told a lie, a very beautiful, very decorated lie. The priests, the theologians, the so-called saints, they have all told you to choose. They said, choose God and reject the devil. Choose light and fight the darkness. Choose the soul and punish the body. And in this choosing, you have become a battlefield. You are not a living, flowing river. You have become a stagnant pool of conflict. You are trying to do the impossible. You are trying to kill one side of a coin while keeping the other. But I tell you, if you kill the devil, your God will die too. They are not two. They are two poles of the same energy. They are like the positive and the negative poles of electricity. If you remove the negative, the positive will simply vanish. Electricity cannot exist with only one pole. Life cannot exist with only one side. Have you ever looked at a tree? A great, magnificent tree like the one Jesus speaks of when he talks about the mustard seed. That tiny, invisible seed that becomes a shelter for all the birds of heaven. That tree reaches for the sky, it dances in the sunlight, its leaves whisper to the stars. That is your God, that is your peak, your flowering. But look deeper. Where are the roots? The roots are going deep into the dark earth, into the mud, into the darkness. Those roots are what you call the devil. If you tell the tree, be holy, do not touch the dark earth, only reach for the sun, the tree will wither and die within moments. The height of the tree is proportionate to the depth of its roots. The more you want to reach God, the more you must have the courage to acknowledge your roots in the devil. The word devil is very interesting. It comes from the same root as the word divine. They are brothers. They are made of the same stuff. But the mind wants to divide. The mind is a divider. It lives through labels. It says this is good, that is bad. And once you label something as bad, you begin to suppress it. And whatever you suppress remains inside you, rotting, poisoning your whole system. You have been suppressing your devil for thousands of years. And that is why your God looks so pale, so bloodless, so dead. Your God is just a concept, a cardboard figure, because it has no juice. The juice comes from the roots. The juice comes from the darkness. Before we go deeper into this mystery, I want to invite you to join this journey with me fully. If these words resonate with your heart, if you feel a door opening in your soul, please subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications. It is not just about a button, it is about our connection. And if you feel like sharing this light with others, like this video and share it with someone who is struggling with their own shadows. Your interaction helps this message reach the thirsty souls who are tired of the old lies. Think about it. If there were no devil, what would God do? He would be unemployed. The churches would vanish. The temples would fall silent. The priests would have to find real work. The entire business of religion depends on the devil. They need the devil to keep you afraid. And when you are afraid, you are a slave. Fear is the foundation of all your morality. You are good only because you are afraid of hell. You are good only because you are bribed by the idea of heaven. But a goodness that comes from fear is not goodness at all. It is just a calculated cowardice. It is a mask. Real virtue is not the opposite of sin. Real virtue is the transcendence of both. A man who is truly conscious is neither good nor bad. He is simply whole. He is a totality. In my vision, a whole man is a holy man. But the world has taught you to be half, and a half man is always in misery. You try to be an angel, but your biology, your instincts, your very earthiness keeps pulling you down. So you feel guilty. You feel like a sinner. I want to take away your guilt. I want to tell you that your hunger, your desire, your anger, your sex, all of it is part of the divine play. It is the raw material out of which your temple will be built. Look at the history of your saints. They were so afraid of the devil. Why? If God is all powerful, why is he so afraid of the devil? If God created the world, then he must have created the devil too. If he didn't, then he is not the sole creator, and there is another power equal to him. That would mean God is not supreme. The truth is, God is the puppeteer and the devil is the puppet, or rather, they are both puppets in the hands of a much larger existence. In the Zen tradition, which I love so much, there is no God and no devil. There is only suchness. There is only this moment, this silence, this reality as it is. If you value these insights and want to help us continue bringing this forbidden wisdom to the world, consider supporting our work through the Super Thanks feature below the video. Your contribution, no matter how small, is a gesture of love and helps us keep this flame alive. You can also become a formal part of our community by clicking join to access exclusive content and deeper meditations. Let us return to the mustard seed. Jesus says, it is the smallest of seeds. It is insignificant. You can easily overlook it. Your own life is like that. You are looking for God in the clouds, in the scriptures, in the distant heavens. But the seed is right here, inside you. And that seed contains both the potential for the divine and the necessity of the earth. To let the seed grow, you must be a gardener. A gardener doesn't hate the manure. He knows that the beautiful rose will come out of that smelly manure. He doesn't say, I will keep the rose and throw away the manure. He knows they are one process. The devil in you is the manure. Your passions, your intensities, your chaotic energies, they are the manure. If you know the art of alchemy, you can transform that manure into gold. You can transform that lust into love, that anger into compassion, that greed into a sharing of your being. But you cannot do it if you are fighting it. You can only do it if you understand it. Understanding is the only transformation. The moment you accept the devil within you, he loses his sting. He is no longer a monster, he becomes a servant. He becomes the energy that fuels your meditation. Have you noticed? When you are very angry, you have a lot of energy. If you can just watch that anger without judgment, that same energy becomes a great light. But if you suppress it, it becomes a dark cloud. The problem is not the energy, the problem is your attitude of rejection. Religions have made you schizophrenic. They have split you in two. One part of you is always trying to watch and control the other part. You are like a house divided against itself. And a house divided against itself cannot stand. It will eventually collapse. That is why there is so much neurosis in the world, so much madness. It is a miracle that people are still sane at all, given the amount of suppression they are forced to live with.
If you are enjoying this deep dive, you might find our ebooks very helpful for your daily practice. They are designed to guide you through these inner landscapes with more detail and practical techniques. Check the links in the description to get your copies and support our mission to spread consciousness.
I want to tell you, God and the devil are like the two banks of a river. The river flows because the banks are there to hold it. If you remove one bank, the river will spread out and become a marsh. It will lose its direction, its depth, its movement. The tension between the banks is what gives the river its beauty and its power. Don't try to destroy the tension. Learn how to dance between the polarities. That is the secret of the middle way that Buddha talked about. The middle way is not a compromise. It is not that you are half good and half bad. No. The middle way is a point of transcendence where you are just a witness to both. You see the light, you see the dark, and you are neither. You are the consciousness that sees both. In that seeing, the conflict ends. In that seeing, you are no longer a fighter, you are a flow. This is what I call being natural. To be natural is to be divine, but to be moral is often to be artificial. Morality is a coat you put on to hide your nakedness. Religion is an invitation to be naked, to be authentic, to be exactly who you are without any apology. Think about the story of the fall. Adam and Eve ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That is the point. The moment they learned what is good and what is evil, they were no longer in paradise. Paradise is a state of non-judgment. Paradise is a state where things simply are. A rose is a rose, a thorn is a thorn. Neither is good nor bad. They are just part of the rose bush. The moment you judge, you are out of Eden. You are in the world of the mind, and the mind is a prison. So if you want to go back to the garden, you have to drop this knowledge of good and evil. You have to drop your God and you have to drop your devil. You have to become like a child again, as Jesus said. A child doesn't know what is saintly and what is sinful. He is simply alive. He is total. When he is angry with his whole being. When he laughs with his whole being. There is no division. I am here to help you regain that last innocence. I am here to help you realize that you don't need to be fixed because you were never broken. You were just misinformed. You were told that you are a sinner. But I tell you that you are a Buddha who has simply forgotten himself. And part of that forgetting is this obsession with fighting the devil. The devil is not your enemy, he is your shadow. And the more you run toward the light, the longer your shadow becomes. If you stop, the shadow stops. If you sit down in the silence of your own being, where there is no sun and no darkness, where is the shadow? It disappears. This is what it means to go beyond duality. If this message is touching your heart, please leave a comment below. I love to read your reflections, your questions, and even your doubts. Let's make this a living dialogue. Your words might help someone else who is watching this right now, feeling the same things you feel. The mustard seed is small, but its potential is infinite. Your soul is small, just a tiny spark of consciousness in this vast universe. But if you allow it to grow, if you don't stifle it with morality and theology, it can become a shelter for the whole existence. It can become a Buddha, a Christ, a Krishna. But remember, the Buddha also had to deal with Mara, the devil. Jesus also had to face the temptations of Satan in the desert. These are not historical events, they are psychological truths. They are happening inside you every moment. The temptation is not to do bad things. The real temptation is to remain divided. The real temptation is to choose one side against the other. Satan says to Jesus, "Choose me." The world says, "Choose me." The priests say, "Choose God." I say, don't choose, remain choiceless. In choiceless awareness, you are free. In choice, you are a slave to the part you have chosen. This is the forbidden truth. God and the devil are partners in a cosmic dance. They are like the inhale and the exhale. Can you only inhale? Try it. If you only inhale, you will die. You must exhale too. Exhaling is as important as inhaling. The devil is the exhale of God. God is the inhale of the devil. Together, they are the breath of existence. As we move forward into the next part of this journey, carry this thought with you. Am I trying to be a half human, or am I ready to be a total existence? Am I brave enough to look at my darkness with love? Because only the eyes of love can transform darkness into light. The moment you begin to see that existence is a play of opposites, your whole perspective on life changes. You no longer see your struggles as something wrong. You see them as the necessary friction that creates the fire of consciousness. Without friction, there is no fire. Without the devil, God would be a cold, distant, and utterly meaningless concept. He would have no movement. He would be like a painting that never changes. But existence is not a painting. It is a dance. It is a constant movement between the known and the unknown, the light and the dark, the godly and the devilish. In the scriptures I have commented on, like the mustard seed, we see Jesus constantly being questioned by people who are stuck in their heads. They want definitions. They want to know what the kingdom of heaven is like. And Jesus always gives them organic living metaphors. He speaks of seeds, of trees, of yeast, of pearls. He never gives a theological definition because life cannot be defined. Life can only be lived. And to live it fully, you must stop being a good person and start being a real person. The real person knows that he has a dark side and he is not afraid of it. He doesn't try to hide it under the carpet. He knows that his shadow is part of his reality. If you are walking in the sun, you have a shadow. Only a dead man has no shadow. Only a ghost has no shadow. If you are alive, you have a shadow. The more enlightened you become, that is, the more light you bring into your being, the more clearly your shadow will be defined. This is the paradox. The saint has the strongest devil lurking nearby. This is why your saints are so often obsessed with sin. They are constantly fighting it, which means they are constantly thinking about it. Think about the monk who goes to the cave to escape the world. Why does he escape? Because he is afraid. He is afraid that if he sees a beautiful woman, his devil will wake up. He is afraid that if he smells good food, his Satan will take over. So he suppresses, he starves himself, he flagellates himself, he hides. But does the devil leave him? No. In the cave, the devil becomes even more powerful. In his dreams, the monk sees the very things he is running away from. His mind becomes a theater of the sinful. By fighting the devil, he has made the devil his master. I want you to be in the world, but not of it. I want you to be able to sit in the marketplace and still be in meditation. And that is only possible if you have made peace with your inner polarities. If you are no longer fighting yourself, you can be anywhere. The devil becomes just another form of divine energy. If you are finding this perspective liberating, don't forget that you can support this channel in many ways. If you haven't yet, click that join button to see how you can contribute more directly to our work and get access to special perks. Your support through super thanks is also a beautiful way to show your gratitude for these teachings. It allows us to reach more people who are lost in the same divisions you once were. Religion as it has existed is a form of spiritual politics. It divides people into the saved and the damned. It creates a hierarchy of holiness. But in reality, there is no hierarchy. A sinner is just a saint who is still exploring the valleys, and a saint is just a sinner who has reached the mountain top. They are both part of the same mountain. The mountain needs the valley to be a mountain. Without the valley, there is no height. Look at your own mind. It is constantly telling you, I should do this and I shouldn't do that. This should and shouldn't is the root of your misery. It is the voice of the priest inside your head. It is the voice of the society that wants you to be a predictable, useful machine. Society doesn't want you to be a whole human being. It wants you to be a part, a cog in the wheel. A whole human being is dangerous because he is unpredictable. He is not under anyone's control. He follows his own light. When you stop fighting the devil, you become a whole man, and a whole man is a rebel. He doesn't follow the rules of the crowd, he follows the law of existence. And the law of existence is balance. Night balances day. Summer balances winter. Sorrow balances joy. If you try to have joy without sorrow, your joy will be shallow. It will be just a grin, not a deep laugh from the belly. A man who has never tasted sorrow can never know the depth of bliss. In the book God is Dead, Now Zen is the Only Living Truth, I discuss how the old concept of God as a person, as a judge sitting in the sky, is finally dying. And it is good that he is dying, because that God was a tyrant. That God was the one who created the division. That God was a projection of the human ego. Zen says, look within. There is no one there to judge you. There is only silence. There is only emptiness, a pure space, as I talk about in the discipline of transcendence. In that pure space, where is the devil? Where is God? They both dissolve. When the flame of the ego is blown out, that is what nirvana means. The fire doesn't go to heaven or hell, it simply becomes the whole. It disappears into the universe. To be enlightened is to disappear as a separate me who is trying to be good. When the me is gone, the good happens naturally. It is not something you do, it is something that flows through you. But you are so afraid of disappearing. You want to be someone. You want to be a great saint or a successful man. This desire to be someone is the only real devil. It is the ego. And the ego can use anything for its own nourishment. It can even use God. In fact, the ego loves God because it can say, I am a devotee of God. I am more holy than you. This is the ultimate trap. The ego becomes even more subtle, even more dangerous when it hides behind the mask of religion. If you want to dive deeper into how to dismantle this ego and live a more authentic life, our ebooks offer step-by-step guidance and deeper insights into these Zen and Jesus discourses. You can find them in the link below. Buying them is a great way to support this channel and your own growth simultaneously. Let's look at the concept of God again. If you think of God as the ultimate light, then you must accept that light needs a background to be seen. If you write with white chalk on a white wall, no one will see it. You need a blackboard to make the white writing visible. The devil is the blackboard. God is the white writing. Without the board, the writing is lost. Without the darkness of the night, you would never see the stars. Are the stars good and the night bad? No, they are a unity. I tell you, the people who have been trying to destroy the devil are the most destructive people in history. Look at the crusades, the jihads, the inquisitions. All of them were done in the name of God to destroy the devil. They killed, they tortured, they burned people alive, all to protect goodness. This is the madness of the divided mind. When you think you have the truth and the good on your side, you can become the most devilish person on earth. The man who accepts his own darkness can never be a fanatic. He knows that he has the potential for everything, for the highest heights and the lowest depths. He becomes humble. He becomes compassionate. When he sees someone else sinning, he doesn't judge. He says, I know this energy. I have felt it too. It is part of being human. This is the beginning of real love. Judgment is the end of love. Acceptance is the beginning of love. You are always asking for solutions. Osho, how do I stop being angry? Osho, how do I stop being greedy? You are still asking how to kill the devil. I am telling you, don't try to stop it. Just watch it. When anger comes, sit with it. Don't call it names. Don't say it is bad. Just feel the heat, feel the electricity, feel the tension. This is your energy. It is a beautiful thing. It is just misplaced. If you can watch it without judgment, the energy will eventually settle down and return to the source. It will become a silence. This is the alchemy I am talking about. We are not trying to create a new man who is only good. We are trying to create a total man who is conscious. A conscious man can use anger when it is needed, but he is not used by the anger. He can use greed as an ambition to grow, but he is not a slave to it. He is the master of his house because he has acknowledged every room in the house, even the dark basement and the messy attic. The mustard seed is a seed of totality. It doesn't exclude anything. When the tree grows, it doesn't say to the crows, you are dark and ugly, you cannot sit on my branches. Only the white doves are allowed. No, the tree is a shelter for all the birds of heaven. This is the heart of a Buddha. This is the heart of a Christ. It is a vast, all-embracing space. If you feel this space opening up in you, take a moment to subscribe and share this video. Let's create a world where people are no longer fighting themselves. Imagine a world without the guilt that religion has imposed on us. It would be a world of laughter, a world of creativity, a world of true spirituality. And if you'd like to help us reach more people, your super thanks and your support through the join button are what make this possible. We are a small community, but like the mustard seed, we can grow into something that gives shelter to many. The old priests used to say that the devil is a tempter. He tempts you with pleasure. And they told you that pleasure is a sin. This is the most clever trick they ever played. By making pleasure a sin, they made you feel guilty every time you feel happy. Have you noticed? When you are miserable, you feel like a good person, like a martyr. But when you are dancing, when you are eating good food, when you are making love, a small voice inside says, "This is wrong. I should be doing something spiritual." I tell you, the spiritual is not something apart from life. Eating is spiritual. Sleeping is spiritual. Breathing is spiritual. The devil is only the divine misunderstood. If you enjoy your life totally, you will find God in the very heart of that enjoyment. God is not a person. God is the quality of your joy. God is the depth of your silence. God is the intensity of your love. But you cannot be intense if you are holding back. You cannot be total if you are afraid of the devil. Suppression makes you weak. It makes you a lukewarm human being. And as it is said in the scriptures, the Lord spits out the lukewarm. Be hot or be cold, but don't be lukewarm. If you are going to be a sinner, be a total sinner. And you will find that at the very bottom of sin, God is waiting for you. If you are going to be a saint, be a total saint. And you will find that at the very peak of holiness, the devil is there as your foundation. This is the forbidden truth that they don't want you to know. They want you to stay in the middle, in the lukewarm, gray area of morality, where you are easy to manage. I want to set you fire. I want you to be so intense that the good and the bad both burn away and only the pure gold of consciousness remains. This consciousness is what I mean by God is dead. Now Zen is the only living truth. The God of the priests is dead. The God of the commandments is dead. The God who was watching you from the ceiling to see if you were bad is dead, and thank God he is dead. Now you are free to find the real God, which is nothing but your own innermost being. And that innermost being is a void, a zero space, a nirvana. It has no color, no name, no labels. It is neither God nor devil. It is the source of both. As we continue, I want you to feel this silence within you. Don't just listen to my words. Listen to the gaps between the words. That is where the truth is. The words are just the devil, the noise, the blackboard. The silence is the God, the light, the message. But without the words, you wouldn't be listening to the silence. Existence is not a problem to be solved. It is a mystery to be lived. But the mind is a problem solver. It wants to categorize. It wants to fix things. It asks, if God is good, why is there evil in the world? This question is born out of a misunderstanding of the whole. Evil is not against God. It is the other side of the same phenomenon. It is like the shadows in a painting. If you remove the shadows, the painting loses its three-dimensionality. It becomes flat. It loses its reality. The devil is the depth of God. The God you have been taught to worship is a flat, two-dimensional character. He is like a cartoon hero, all good, all powerful, all boring. No wonder people are losing interest in religion. Who wants to spend an eternity with such a boring person? The real divine is much more mysterious. It includes the lion and the lamb. It includes the storm and the calm. It includes the birth and the death. In the discipline of transcendence, I talk about how Buddha describes the 20 difficult things to attain. One of them is to be strong and rich and still observe the way. Why is it difficult? Because when you have power and money, your devil has more tools to play with. But Buddha doesn't say you should become poor. He says you should remain conscious in the midst of your richness. The challenge is not to escape the devil's playground, but to become a master player. Don't be afraid of life. Don't be afraid of the world. The world is the only place where God can be found. You have been told that this world is Maya, an illusion, and that the real world is somewhere else. I tell you, this is the only world there is. This Maya is the body of God. This devil's world is the only way to reach the kingdom of heaven. You must have seen the symbol of the yin and the yang. It is a beautiful representation of what I am saying. There is a white half and a black half, but in the white half there is a black dot, and in the black half there is a white dot. They are constantly moving, constantly flowing into each other. The black is becoming white and the white is becoming black. This is the truth of your life. Your goodness contains a seed of evil, and your evil contains a seed of goodness. The mustard seed is that white dot in the middle of the darkness. It is the potential for light, but that light needs the darkness to grow. It needs the challenge. If everything were easy, if there were no devil to tempt you, no darkness to overcome, you would never grow. You would remain a seed forever. You would never become a tree. The devil is the resistance that makes you strong. He is like the weight that the athlete lifts. Does the athlete hate the weight? No, he loves it because the weight is what creates his muscles. So stop hating your devil. Stop hating your desires. Use them. Become an artist of your own energy. If you are full of desire, great. That means you are full of life energy. Now, how to use that energy for meditation? How to use that energy to reach the pure space within? That is the only question worth asking. And as we ask these questions together, remember that this community survives on your participation. If you are finding value in this, please hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that this content matters. If you want to go even deeper, check out our ebooks. They are like a map for this inner journey, helping you navigate the territory of your own mind without getting lost in the duality. And for those who want to be the pillars of this channel, the join button and super thanks are there for you to show your support. The priests have taught you to be meek and humble, but their humility is often just a hidden ego. They have taught you to be ashamed of your power, of your beauty, of your intelligence. They want you to be a sheep. Why? Because sheep are easy to lead to the slaughterhouse. I want you to be a lion. I want you to be a Zarathustra who can laugh at both God and the devil. A man who can laugh is a free man. Laughter is the only thing the devil cannot stanch. And it is also something that the God of the priests hates, because it is too human, too earthly. But to me, laughter is the most spiritual quality. If you can laugh at yourself, if you can laugh at the absurdity of this good versus evil drama, you are already beyond it. You are already in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he finds one of great value, he goes and sells everything he has to buy it. What does he sell? He sells his morality. He sells his theology. He sells his God and his devil. He sells all his divisions to buy the one pearl of wholeness. To be whole is the only holiness. But to be whole, you must be brave. It takes courage to say, yes, I am angry. Yes, I am sexual. Yes, I am greedy. And I am also a Buddha. It is easy to be a saint in a temple. It is easy to be a sinner in a brothel. But to be both, to be a Zorba the Buddha, that is the highest achievement. Zorba is the devil, the one who enjoys the earth, the wine, the dance, the woman. Buddha is the God, the one who enjoys the silence, the meditation, the emptiness. I want you to be both. If you are only Zorba, you are shallow. You will eventually get tired of the wine and the dance. You will feel a void that cannot be filled by the world. If you are only Buddha, you are like a dry stone. You have no juice, no song, no fragrance. But if you are Zorba the Buddha, you are a complete human being. You have the roots in the earth and the flowers in the sky. This is the forbidden truth because it destroys the power of the priests. If you are whole, you don't need them. If you are not guilty, they cannot control you. They want to keep you half finished, half baked, so that you are always dependent on them for salvation. But I tell you, you are already saved. You just need to realize it. And the realization comes when you stop the war inside. God is dead doesn't mean that the divine has disappeared. It means that the concept of God as an external entity is gone. Now God is an internal experience. And in that experience you will find that the devil was just God in a mask. He was the one who was pushing you, provoking you, testing you, so that you would eventually wake up. Imagine a world where parents tell their children, explore your darkness, but do it with awareness. Don't be afraid of your mistakes, but learn from them. Don't try to be good, just try to be awake. In such a world, we wouldn't have criminals and we wouldn't have saints. We would have human beings. And a human being is much more beautiful than any saint. A saint is like a plastic flower, perfect but without fragrance. A human being is like a real rose. It has thorns. It can wither, but oh, the fragrance, and that fragrance is what existence is looking for. The devil provides the thorns and God provides the petals. Together they are the rose. If you are ready to be a real rose, then embrace your thorns. Don't try to pluck them out. If you pluck out the thorns, you will damage the rose. The thorns are there for a reason, to protect the beauty, to give it a boundary, to give it a challenge. We have many more chapters of this mystery to uncover. This is just the beginning of our exploration into the mustard seed of your consciousness. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and turn on the bell icon. We are building a community of rebels, of seekers, of people who are brave enough to look at the forbidden truths. Your comments and your super thanks help us keep this platform independent and free from the old priestly censorship. In the next part, we will look at how this duality manifests in your relationships, how your God and your devil interact with the God and the devil of your partner. Because that is where the real drama happens. That is where the mustard seed is tested in the fire of life. But for now, just sit with this. If I kill my devil, I kill my God. Am I willing to let them both go and just be? Am I willing to step out of the light and the dark and into the pure zero space of my own heart? This zero space is what Buddha calls anatta, the no self. When you are in no self, you are not a person anymore. You are a presence. And a presence has no duality. It is just a glow. It is like a lamp in a dark room. The lamp doesn't say, I am fighting the darkness. It just glows. And in its glowing, the darkness is not destroyed. It is simply no longer there. The darkness and the light are one and the same energy, just different frequencies. Be a light unto yourself. Don't look for a light in the scriptures. Don't look for a light in the old traditions. They are all dead. They are all part of the past. The only light that matters is the one that is burning inside you right now. And that light needs the oil of your devil to keep burning. Don't be afraid of the oil. It is messy, it is dark, it is heavy, but it is the fuel. Without the oil, the flame will go out. Without your patience, your meditation will be a cold intellectual exercise. It will not have the power to transform you. It will not have the power to make you a new man. So I bless your devil and I bless your God. I bless your darkness and I bless your light, because I see that they are both leading you to the same point, to me, to you, to this very moment of silence. Look into your relationships, for they are the greatest mirrors you have. You say you love someone, but within moments that love turns into hate. You say you are attracted to the godliness in someone, but soon you are fighting their devil. And because you cannot accept their devil, you eventually lose their God too. You want a partner who is an angel, but an angel cannot live in this world. An angel would have no weight, no grounding, no juice. You are looking for a perfection that doesn't exist, and in that search, you miss the beautiful reality of the human being standing right in front of you. In my talks on the mustard seed, I have often said that love is a commitment in depth, but depth is frightening. On the surface, you can play the game of being good. You can be polite, you can be formal, you can be a gentleman or a lady. But the moment you go deep, the masks fall off. The devil comes out, your possessiveness, your jealousy, your anger, your need for control. And because you have been taught that these things are quote unquote bad, you feel guilty and you try to fix the other person, you try to exorcise their devil. But I tell you, if you succeed in killing their devil, you will find that the person you loved has also disappeared. They will become a corpse, a puppet. Existence is not about being a puppet. In the discourse, God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I explore this idea of God as a puppeteer. The old religions wanted a God who pulls the strings, and you were just supposed to dance according to his will. That is not life, that is a mechanical toy. Zen says, cut the strings, let the puppeteer die, so that the dancer can truly be born. When you cut the strings, you might fall at first. You might feel chaotic. Your devil might seem to go wild because the old control is gone. But that chaos is the beginning of a new order, an organic order that comes from within, not a discipline imposed from without. If you are finding this internal revolution meaningful, I invite you to support this flow of consciousness. You can use the Super Thanks feature to help us keep these forbidden truths alive and accessible. And if you want to be a more stable part of this movement, click the join button to become a member. Your energy and your resources help us create a space where the truth can be spoken without fear of the old priests. The mustard seed only grows when it falls on tilled earth. What is tilled earth? It is earth that has been broken, turned upside down, disturbed. If the earth is hard and well behaved, the seed cannot penetrate it. Your heart needs to be tilled. Your pain, your failures, your sinful moments, they are all part of the tilling process. They break the hard shell of your ego so that the seed of the divine can take root in the dark, moist soil of your humanity. Don't be afraid of being broken. The devil is the one who breaks you, but God is the one who grows through the cracks. They are working together. The hammer and the chisel are not the enemies of the statue. They are the tools that reveal the beauty hidden inside the stone. You are the stone, and the experiences of life, both the good and the bad, are the hammer and the chisel. Think of the 20 difficult things Buddha mentioned in the discipline of transcendence. He says it is difficult for the rich and powerful to follow the way. Why? Because the ego of the rich man is very thick. He thinks he is the master. He thinks he has no need for the darkness or the silence. He is satisfied with the surface. But the man who has known suffering, the man who has seen his own devilish depths and felt the agony of division, he is ready. He is poor in spirit, as Jesus says, and only the poor in spirit can enter the kingdom of heaven. Being poor in spirit means being empty of all the labels. It means not saying I am a saint or I am a sinner. It means being a zero space. In that emptiness, the conflict between God and the devil simply ceases to be. It was a mental conflict, a civil war in the mind. In the silence of the heart, there are no sides to take. I want you to experience this wholeness. And to help you on this path, we have prepared several ebooks that dive deeper into these specific Zen and Jesus commentaries. They are tools for your inner garden. You can find the links in the description. By getting them, you nourish your own soul and support the growth of this channel. The society you live in is a God-oriented society, but it is a false God. It is a God of shoulds. It is a God of social order. It is a God of utility. This society is terrified of the devil because the devil represents the wild, the unmanageable, the ecstatic. A man who is in ecstasy cannot be made into a soldier. A man who is truly in love cannot be made into a competitive machine. A man who has found his own mustard seed is a threat to the status quo. So they tell you to suppress your devil. They tell you to be balanced. which usually just means being numb. But I tell you, be wildly unbalanced. Go to the extremes. Experience the height and the depth. Only then will you find the center. The center is not a midpoint between 2 points. It is the transcendence of both. You cannot find the center if you have only known one side. You must know the whole circle. Have you noticed that the people who are the most moral are often the most joyless? They have a certain stiffness, a certain holier-than-thou attitude that is quite repulsive. That stiffness is there because they are sitting on a volcano. They have suppressed their devil so deeply that they are afraid to move, afraid to laugh, afraid to be human. They are living in a self-created prison. I want to open the doors of that prison. I want you to step out into the sun and the rain. I want you to dance with your devil until he is exhausted, and then sit in the silence with your God until he disappears. What remains is that, the nameless, the eternal, the suchness. As we move through this life, let us not be calculators of virtue. Let us be gamblers of existence. Like the merchant who sold everything for the one pearl, be ready to risk your good reputation, your social standing, and your ego for the sake of the truth. The truth is not a reward you get for being good. The truth is what you find when you stop being false. If this resonance is reaching you, don't forget to share this video with others. There are so many people living in the shadow of guilt, feeling like they are not enough, are too sinful. Your share could be the light they need to realize their own totality. And leave a comment, tell me, what is the devil you have been fighting the most? Let us bring it into the light of awareness together. Remember, the devil is just energy without a name. When you give it a bad name, it becomes a burden. When you give it no name, it becomes a power. In the Zen tradition, we don't try to overcome anything. We just watch. We watch the clouds pass. We watch the thoughts pass. We watch the desires pass. We are the sky. The sky is not affected by the clouds, whether they are white or black. The sky remains pure, vast, and eternal. You are that sky. In the discipline of transcendence, I explain that the real sin is unconsciousness. If you do something good unconsciously, it has no value. It is just a habit. If you do something bad consciously, that awareness will soon transform the action. Awareness is the fire that burns the dross and leaves the gold. So don't worry about what you are doing. Worry about how you are doing it. Are you doing it with awareness? Are you doing it with totality? If you are angry, be totally angry. Be a flaming fire of anger. In that totality, you will see a miracle. The anger will disappear and turn into a great peace. But if you are only half angry and half trying to be good, the anger will linger for days, poisoning your heart. Totality is the secret of transformation. This is the path of the mustard seed. It starts small, but it is total. When the seed dies into the earth, it dies totally. It doesn't try to save a little bit of itself just in case. Because it dies totally, it is reborn as a great tree. If you want to be reborn as a Buddha, you must be willing to die as an ego. You must be willing to let go of your God and your devil, your heaven and your hell. And as you walk this path, know that you are not alone. We are a community of seekers, of Zorba the Buddhas, who are reclaiming our right to be whole. Your support through super thanks and your membership via the join button helps us build this Buddha field where everyone can be exactly who they are. As we conclude this part of our journey, let the words sink deep into your silence. Don't try to remember them with your mind. Let them vibrate in your being. You are a mystery. You are a bridge between the earth and the sky, between the mud and the stars. Embrace the whole bridge. Don't try to live on only one side. The forbidden truth is that you are already what you are seeking. You are already divine. And your devil is just the divine in disguise, playing a game of hide and seek with you. Stop the game. Look the devil in the eye with love and see him melt into the light of God. And then look at God and see him melt into the vast emptiness of existence. In that emptiness, there is only peace. In that emptiness, there is only suchness. But remember, this suchness is not a dead thing. It is not a desert. It is a garden. It is a garden where the mustard seed finally realizes its destiny. In the scriptures are discussed in the mustard seed, Jesus says that when the seed falls on tilled earth, it becomes a shelter for all the birds of heaven. This tilling of the earth is exactly what happens when you stop the war between your God and your devil. When you are at war, your earth is hard, stony, and impenetrable. You are guarded, you are defensive. But when you accept the totality of your being, you become vulnerable, you become soft, you become tilled. And only in that softness can the divine take root. If you are too good, you are too hard. If you are too holy, you are too stiff. A saint who cannot dance with the devil is not a saint at all. He is just a man in a spiritual straitjacket. I want you to be fluid. I want you to be like water. It has no shape of its own, but it takes the shape of whatever vessel it is in. It flows around obstacles. It doesn't fight the rock, it simply finds a way. In the discipline of transcendence, Buddha speaks about the difficulty of conquering the passions. But what does conquering mean? To the priests, it means suppression. To me, it means transformation through understanding. You don't conquer a river by damming it. You conquer it by becoming a master navigator. Your passions are the current. If you try to stop the current, the dam will eventually break and destroy everything in its path. That is what happened with the devil. He is just a dammed up river of your own suppressed life force. When you allow the river to flow, the devil disappears, and what remains is pure movement, pure energy. This energy is what you have been calling God all along, but you were looking at it through the filter of your fear. Fear is the only sin. Awareness is the only virtue. If you are feeling the truth of this movement within you, I invite you to support our efforts to bring this awareness to the world. By clicking the super thanks button, you help us stay independent and continue challenging the old fossilized ideas of the priests. You can also deepen your commitment to this journey by hitting the join button to become a part of our inner circle. Your support is the fuel that keeps this lamp burning. Let us look at another one of Buddha's difficult things: to disregard life and go to certain death. This sounds very dramatic, but it has a secret meaning. It means the death of the ego. The devil and God are both inventions of the ego to keep itself busy. The ego loves conflict. It loves to say, I am fighting against evil. It gives the ego a sense of mission, a sense of importance. But to go to certain death means to let that whole drama die. It means to step into the zero space where you are nobody. People are more afraid of being nobody than they are of the devil. You would rather be a sinner than be a nothing. Because even as a sinner, you have an identity. You can say, I am a great rebel, a great sinner. But to be a zero space, that is the ultimate challenge. And yet, that is the only place where true freedom lives. In that zero space, you are no longer a puppet of your instincts, the devil, or a puppet of your social conditioning, the god of the priests. You are a master of your own soul. In God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I explained that the death of God is the beginning of your adulthood. As long as you have a God in the sky, you remain a child. You are always looking for a father figure to tell you what is right and what is wrong, to reward you or punish you. When that God dies, you are suddenly alone. And that loneliness is beautiful. It is in that loneliness that you discover your own godliness. This is why I say, if you kill the devil, God dies too. And that is the best thing that can happen to you. Because when both are gone, you are left with yourself. And you are enough. You are more than enough. You are the whole universe condensed into a single spark of consciousness. But to live this truth, you must be practical. You must see how you create your own devil in your daily life. Every time you say, I shouldn't have felt that, you are creating a devil. Every time you feel guilty for being happy, you are feeding the devil. Stop the guilt. Guilt is the most devilish thing in the world because it keeps you from being total. If you have done something wrong, learn from it and move on. Don't carry it like a dead weight. The mustard seed cannot grow if it is buried under the weight of the past. If you want to learn how to drop this weight and live a life of spontaneity and joy, our ebooks offer deep insights into the Zen way of living. They are designed to help you deprogram the mind so that you can hear the song of the heart. Check the links in the description to explore these forbidden truths at your own pace. The priests tell you that life is a struggle between light and dark. I tell you that life is a harmony. Look at a musical instrument. To create music, you need a string that is under tension. If the string is too loose, there is no sound. If it is too tight, it breaks. The God and the devil are the two ends of that string. The tension between them is what creates the music of your life. Don't try to get rid of the tension. Learn to play the music. A man who understands this becomes a Zorba the Buddha. He eats with gusto, he drinks with joy, he loves with intensity. That is his Zorba. And he sits in silence, he watches the thoughts, he dwells in the void. That is his Buddha. He doesn't see any contradiction. He knows that the wine is as divine as the silence. He knows that the body is as holy as the soul. This is the message that the world needs right now. We have had enough of saints who are half dead and sinners who are half mad. We need whole human beings. We need people who can laugh at the absurdity of it all. And I tell you, once you see through the game of duality, you will find it very difficult to be serious again. Seriousness is a disease of the ego. Sincerity is a quality of the soul. Be sincere, but don't be serious. Play with your devil. Joke with your gods. You will find that the devil is quite a fun fellow once he knows he cannot scare you anymore. And you will find that God is much more relaxed once he knows he doesn't have to judge you. In fact, they might even start playing together. And in that play, your life becomes a celebration. If this celebration is beginning to spark in your heart, please subscribe and share this message. Let us create a ripple of consciousness that reaches every corner of the earth. We are here to dismantle the old world of fear and build a new world of love and freedom. Your super thanks and your support through the join button are what make this platform possible. We are not funded by any corporation or church. We are funded by you, the seekers, the rebels, the lovers of truth. In the discipline of transcendence, I talk about the difficulties. One of them is to be strong and rich and still observe the way. Why? Because the rich man thinks he can buy everything, even enlightenment. But the way is not a commodity. It is an inner transformation. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank if you are bankrupt inside. Real richness is the capacity to be happy with nothing. Real strength is the capacity to be vulnerable. The mustard seed is a seed of strength, but its strength is hidden in its smallness. It doesn't boast. It doesn't demand attention. It just waits for the right moment to disappear into the earth. And that is the secret of the greatest people who have ever lived. They were nobodies. They were so transparent that the divine could shine through them without any obstruction. When you are fighting your devil, you are very opaque. You are full of yourself. You are full of your struggle. When you surrender the fight, you become transparent. The God and the devil are no longer names for external forces. They become the light and the shadow that play within your own transparency. God is dead is a call to freedom. It means you are no longer a slave to a celestial dictator. You are the architect of your own destiny. You are responsible, and responsibility is the greatest gift. It means you have the power to choose. Not the power to choose between a pre-packaged good and evil, but the power to choose your own response to life in every moment. This is the forbidden truth, because if everyone realized their own responsibility, the whole structure of society would collapse. We wouldn't need leaders, we wouldn't need priests, we wouldn't need judges. We would have a society of conscious individuals who live in harmony because they are in harmony within themselves. I want to see that world. I want to see you becoming part of that world. So don't just listen to this as a lecture. Let it be a seed. Let it fall on the tilled earth of your heart. Let it disturb you. If my words are not disturbing you, then you are not listening. I am here to wake you up. An awakening is often a rude shock, but it is the only way to escape the nightmare of duality. If you are ready for more shocks, for more awakening, keep following this journey. Leave a comment below and let me know what was the moment you realized your God and devil were the same. What part of your life are you still trying to hide from yourself? Let's bring it all into the open. And if you want to support this mission of awakening, don't forget the super thanks and join options. Your generosity helps us reach millions of people who are still trapped in the dark. As we move into the next phase of our discourse, keep this in mind. You are not a battleground. You are a temple. And in a temple, everything is sacred. The floor you walk on is as sacred as the altar. The darkness of the inner sanctum is as sacred as the candles that burn there. Treat yourself with that same respect. Treat your whole being as a sacred mystery. Stop trying to be an angel. The world doesn't need more angels. It has plenty of them in heaven, and they are probably very bored. The world needs more human beings. Flesh and blood, passion and silence, laughter and tears. The world needs you in your totality. This is the beauty of the mustard seed. It doesn't try to become a cedar or an oak. It is perfectly happy being a mustard tree. It fulfills its own nature. You are here to fulfill your own nature. And your nature includes everything. It is a vast spectrum. Don't cut off any part of the rainbow. The devil is just the infrared, and God is just the ultraviolet. You need the whole spectrum to see the light. You need the whole spectrum to be whole. Let us go deeper into the concept of nirvana, which I discussed in the discipline of transcendence. As I mentioned, the word means blowing out the flame. This is one of the most misunderstood concepts in the history of religion. People think nirvana is a place, a kind of paradise where you go after you die. But nirvana is not a place, it is a state of being. It is the state that occurs when the fire of the ego is blown out. And what is the ego made of? It is made of your desires, your attachments, and your divisions. It is made of your constant choosing between the godly and the devilish. When you blow out the flame of the ego, the smoke of duality also disappears. What is left is pure, empty space. In Zen, we call this the original face, the face you had before you were born, the face that has no name and no labels. In this original face, there is no devil and there is no God. There is only suchness. But you are so attached to your masks. You are so afraid of the void. You think, if I am not a good person, then who am I? If I don't have my God to protect me, then I am lost. But I tell you, you are only lost when you are following a map that is not yours. The maps provided by the religions are all outdated. They lead to dead ends. The only true map is the one you discover as you walk. The mustard seed doesn't have a map. It just has an inner blueprint, an inner trust. It trusts the soil, it trusts the rain, it trusts the sun. It doesn't ask, is the soil good or bad? It just interacts with the soil. I want you to have that same trust in life. Trust your instincts. Trust your silence. Even trust your devil, for he is also a messenger of life. If you are beginning to trust this process, you can show your support for this work by using the Super Thanks feature. This allows us to keep producing content that challenges the status quo and offers a path to true inner freedom. You can also become a member of our community by clicking Join, which gives you access to more intimate discussions and exclusive content. And don't forget our ebooks, which are a great way to take these teachings home with you and study them in depth. In God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I talked about how the death of the old God opens up the possibility of the Buddha field. A Buddha field is an energy field where transformation becomes easy. It is like a greenhouse for the soul. When you are in the presence of someone who has realized their own wholeness, your own seeds begin to stir. You feel a resonance, you feel a call, but that call is not to follow the master. A true master doesn't want followers, he wants fellow travelers. He doesn't want to give you his light, he wants to help you light your own lamp. And to light your own lamp, you must be willing to burn. You must be willing to let the old you, the one who was divided, the one who was afraid, burn away in the fire of awareness. The devil is the one who provides the heat for that fire. Your passions, your frustrations, your angers, they are the fuel. If you have no passions, you have no fire. If you have no fire, you cannot be transformed. This is why the so-called saints who have killed their passions are so cold and lifeless. They have no fire left. They are just ashes. I don't want you to be ashes. I want you to be a living flame. Look at Jesus. He was a man of fire. He went into the temple and turned over the tables of the money changers. Was that godly or devilish? The priests of his time thought it was devilish. They thought he was a madman, a rebel, a threat to the order. But to me, that was his godliness in action. It was his totality. He didn't hold back. He was a mustard seed that had become a great tree, and he was shaking his branches. You have been taught to be nice, but nice is a very thin plastic quality. I don't want you to be nice. I want you to be real. And being real means being capable of intense anger and intense love, intense sadness and intense joy. When you are real, you are no longer a good or bad person. You are a force of nature. And nature is not moral. A lion is not evil when it kills a deer, and the deer is not good when it eats the grass. It is all a play of energy. The devil and God are just the labels we put on that play, because we are afraid of its raw power. We want to domesticate existence. We want to put it in a cage. But existence cannot be caged. It will always break out. If you are ready to break out of your own cage, please like this video and share it. Let's reach those who are still pacing back and forth in their mental prisons. Your engagement helps the algorithm find the seekers who are ready for this forbidden truth. And if you have the means, your super thanks and membership through join are what keep this rebellion against the old mind alive. The mustard seed is a rebel. It breaks through the hard earth. It defies the winds. It grows against the gravity of the past. You are that seed. You have the power to break through your conditioning, your guilt, and your fear. But you must be willing to lose your small self to find your great self. In the discipline of transcendence, Buddha says it is difficult to be born in the age of a Buddha. Why? Because a Buddha is a mirror. When you are in the presence of a Buddha, you see yourself as you really are, not as you want to be. You see your God and your devil naked, without any decorations, and that can be terrifying. But it is also the only way to be free. I am your mirror. I am here to show you that your devil is just your unlived life, and your God is just your fear of the unknown. Drop both, and what remains? What remains is this moment, this breathing, this heartbeat, this silence. This silence is the kingdom of heaven that Jesus spoke of. It is not somewhere else. It is not after you die. It is here and now. But you cannot enter it as long as you are carrying the luggage of duality. You must leave your morality and your sin at the door. You must enter naked, like a child. A child doesn't know the difference between God and the devil. If you give a child a beautiful toy, he is happy. If he breaks it, he is sad for a moment and then he moves on. He doesn't carry the sin of breaking the tie for the rest of his life. He is fluid. He is total. He is a mustard seed in its pure state. I want you to regain that childhood. I want you to become Zorba the Buddha, a man who is grounded in the earth, but whose head is in the stars. A man who can enjoy the devilish pleasures of the world with a godly awareness. That is the only way to live a life of fulfillment. If you are feeling a shift in your perception, don't stop now. We have much more to explore. This journey into the heart of duality is just beginning. In the next part, we will look at how to practically integrate these insights into your daily life, into your work, your relationships, and your inner silence. But for now, just feel the tension between your opposites. Don't try to resolve it, just feel it. Be the bridge, be the space in which the God and the devil are dancing. And remember, if you kill the devil, your God will die too. Let them both live. Let them both dance. And you just watch. In that watching, you are free. In that watching, you are home. If you want to keep this home alive in your heart, consider getting our ebooks or supporting us through super thanks and join. Your contribution ensures that this mirror remains available for all who are brave enough to look. Peace. This silence is not something you can manufacture. It is not a product of your mind. It is a gift that descends upon you. When you are no longer divided, when you have finally allowed the God and the devil to finish their dance and merge into one. You see, the mind is a politician. It lives through conflict. It thrives on either or. But life is both and. This is the fundamental shift I am inviting you to make. In the discipline of transcendence, I have talked about how difficult it is for the strong and the rich to observe the way. Why? Because strength and richness are often the most decorated masks of the ego. When you are rich, you feel you have conquered the devil of poverty, the devil of insecurity. When you are strong, you feel you have conquered the devil of weakness. But these are just illusions. You haven't conquered anything. You have only suppressed your vulnerability. And vulnerability is the only door to the divine. The rich man is often the most closed off person because he has so much to protect. He has built a wall of gold around himself. But that wall not only keeps the devil out, it also keeps the God out. It keeps life itself out. To follow the way, you must be willing to be poor, to be weak, to be nothing. This is what Jesus means by the mustard seed. It is the smallest of seeds. It has no ego. It doesn't boast about its potential. It is humble enough to disappear into the dark, dirty earth. I want you to have that same courage, the courage to disappear. If you find value in these reflections, if you feel your heart opening to this poverty of spirit, consider showing your support. You can click on Super Thanks to contribute to this work or hit the join button to help us sustain this Buddha field. Every gesture of support is like a drop of water for the mustard seed growing within us. And if you are hungry for more, our ebooks are always available to guide you deeper into these sutras. The devil is often just your ambition in a different costume. You want to be spiritual. You want to be enlightened. You want to be a saint. Can't you see the ego at work here? The devil is whispering, be the best saint. Be the most meditative person in the room. This is the same ambition that wants money and power, just painted with a religious color. Enlightenment is not an achievement. It is not something you get. It is what remains when the getter is gone. In God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I explain that Zen is the only living truth because it doesn't give you any new toys to play with. It takes away your toys. It takes away your God in the sky and your devil in hell, and it leaves you with this vast, terrifying, beautiful emptiness. Most people cannot stand that emptiness. They immediately want to fill it with something, a ritual, a prayer, a belief. They are like children who are afraid of the dark. But I tell you, the dark is beautiful. The darkness is the womb of the light. If you are afraid of the darkness, you will never know the stars. Your devil is that darkness. He is the depth. He is the mystery. Stop trying to light him up with your puny little candles of morality. Just sit with him. Let the darkness penetrate your bones. When you sit in total darkness, eventually you start seeing a different kind of light, a light that doesn't come from the sun, a light that is not the opposite of darkness. This is the light of consciousness. It is the light that witnesses both the day and the night. It is the light that sees the God and the devil as two sides of the same coin. This is the suchness of Zen. It is to see things as they are, without judgment, without labels. A thorn is a thorn, a rose is a rose. One is not bad and the other good. They are part of the same biological reality. When you reach this level of understanding, you are no longer a victim of your emotions. You are no longer pushed and pulled by your desires. You see them as weather patterns passing through the sky of your being. And as we watch these patterns together, I invite you to share this video. There are so many people who are drowning in the storm of their own duality. Your share could be the anchor they need, like this video, to help it reach those who are searching for the mustard seed. Your interaction is vital for our message to bypass the censors of the old mind. The mustard seed is a seed of revolution. It doesn't ask for permission to grow. It doesn't wait for the priest to bless the soil. It just grows because it is its nature to grow. your soul is the same. It is its nature to be free. It is its nature to be whole. But you have been conditioned to be a part. You have been told to choose the godly part and kill the devilish part. I tell you, be the whole, be the tree. A tree doesn't judge its roots for being in the mud. It doesn't say, I wish I was all flowers and no roots. Without the roots, the flowers would vanish in a second. Without your devil, your God would have no juice. Your passions, your basic instincts, your earthly desires, they are the roots. They give you the juice to meditate. They give you the intensity to seek the truth. This is why I say, don't be a moral person. Be a conscious person. A moral person is someone who is following a dead code. A conscious person is someone who is responding to a living moment. In a living moment, sometimes anger is needed. Look at Jesus in the temple. Sometimes desire is needed. It is the very energy of life. Sometimes darkness is needed. It is the space of rest. The forbidden truth is that the devil is your greatest friend, because he never lets you be satisfied with a false peace. He keeps poking you. He keeps tempting you. He keeps reminding you that you are not yet whole. He is the one who keeps the mustard seed from remaining a seed. He forces the seed to break. He forces the ego to shatter. In the discipline of transcendence, Buddha says it is difficult to conquer the passions. Yes, it is difficult if you are trying to suppress them. It is like trying to push a giant spring down. The harder you push, the more it will hit you back. But if you understand the spring, you can use its energy. You can let it lift you up. Use your devilish energy to lift your godly consciousness. Transform your lust into love. Transform your greed into a hunger for truth. Transform your ego into a vast emptiness. This is the only alchemy that matters, and you don't need a lab for it. Your own life is the laboratory. If you are enjoying this inner exploration, consider getting our ebooks to support your daily practice. They are written to help you bridge the gap between Osho's words and your own experience. You can find the links in the description. And for those who feel a deep resonance with this Zorba the Buddha lifestyle, the join button and super thanks are wonderful ways to help us keep this vision alive. Remember, the mustard seed is tiny, but it becomes a shelter for all the birds of heaven. When you become whole, when you stop the war inside, you become a shelter for others. People will feel a certain peace in your presence. They won't know why, but they will feel home when they are near you, because you have found your own home. You have reconciled your internal God and devil. You are no longer a house divided. And that is the greatest gift you can give to the world. Not your charity, not your morality, but your wholeness. A whole human being is a healing presence in a divided world. So let the devil dance, let the God shine, and you be the silent witness to both. Don't take sides, don't be a judge, just be. In that just being, you have already arrived. You are the mustard seed that has become a tree. You are the God that has swallowed the devil. You are the nirvana that has embraced the samsara. As we move toward the final stages of our talk, let this understanding sink in. Don't think about it, just feel it. Feel the weight of your body on the earth. That is your devil. Feel the lightness of your breath. That is your God. See, they are happening at the same time. They are breathing you. Stay with this feeling. Stay with this silence. If you want to be part of our future discourses and never miss a forbidden truth, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon. We have many more secrets to uncover, many more masks to tear down. Your comments below help us know what shadows you are facing, and your super thanks and joint support make this independent journey possible. The dance is the destination because there is nowhere else to go. You are already in the kingdom of heaven, but you are too busy looking for the keys, and the keys are right there in your pockets, disguised as the very things you are trying to throw away. Your devil is holding the key to your God. Your pain is holding the key to your bliss. Your darkness is holding the key to your enlightenment. In the discipline of transcendence, I have often spoken about the favor of being born in the age of a Buddha. This doesn't mean just being alive when a Buddha is physically present. It means being in a state of heart that can recognize a Buddha. And to recognize a Buddha, you must have first recognized your own totality. If you are still judging yourself, you will judge the Buddha. If you are still afraid of your devil, you will see a devil in the Buddha. People crucified Jesus because they saw a devil in him. They saw him drinking wine with sinners, talking to prostitutes, breaking the holy laws of the Sabbath. They were moral people, God-fearing people. And because they feared God, they hated the man who was actually living in God. Fear and life cannot go together. If you fear the devil, you will never love God. You will only worship an idol of your own making. I want you to drop the fear. I want you to look at your life with the eyes of a lover, not a judge. When a mother looks at her child, she doesn't see good and bad. She sees her child. Even if the child is messy, Even if the child is screaming, her love remains. Can you have that same love for yourself? Can you look at your devilish moments with that same motherly compassion? If you are feeling this shift towards self-compassion, please let us know in the comments. Your story might be the very thing someone else needs to hear today. And if you want to support this message of love and wholeness, your super thanks and your decision to join our membership are the pillars that hold up this temple. We are a family of seekers, and your contribution, big or small, keeps the mustard seed growing. In God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I talked about how the old morality was based on character. But character is just a habit. It is a cage you build for yourself so that people know what to expect from you. Zen says, drop the character, be characterless. This doesn't mean being bad, it means being spontaneous. It means responding from your consciousness, not from your memory. A man with a good character is a dead man. He is a machine. He is predictable. But a man of consciousness is like a river. You never know which way it will turn. He is alive. And because he is alive, he is devilish to the society. Society loves dead things. Society loves godly statues that never move and never complain. I want you to be a living, breathing, dancing devil god. Think about the mustard seed again. When it falls on tilled earth, it produces a large tree. The earth must be tilled. Your life must be shaken. Your God and your devil must be thrown into a blender. This blending is what I call meditation. It is the process of losing your separate identities and becoming a zero space. In that zero space, you will find that you have no enemies. The devil was only an enemy as long as you were trying to be godly. The God was only a burden as long as you were trying to be perfect. When you give up the idea of being perfect and accept the beauty of being human, the war is over. The soldiers can go home. The God and the devil can finally sit down and have a cup of tea together. This is the forbidden truth that the religions don't want you to know. There is no war in heaven. The war is only in your mind. Existence is at peace. The stars are not fighting the darkness. The trees are not fighting the mud. The ocean is not fighting the salt. Only man is fighting himself. And this fight is the source of all your misery. I am here to tell you, stop the fight. Surrender. Not to a god, not to a master, but to your own totality. Say yes to everything that you are. Say yes to your anger, your lust, your greed, and say yes to your silence, your love, your prayer. In that yes, the devil is transformed. In that yes, the God is realized. If you are ready to say that yes, then subscribe and stay with us. This is a journey of yes saying. It is a journey beyond the no of the priests. Your support through super thanks and your participation as a join member help us reach more no sayers and turn them into yes sayers. And if you want to study the mechanics of this yes more deeply, our e-books are perfect for your inner library. In the discipline of transcendence, Buddha says, it is difficult not to get into a passion when slighted. Of course it is, because your ego is hurt. And the ego is the one who created the God and the devil to begin with. When someone slights you, your devil wakes up and wants to strike back. Your God tells you to turn the other cheek, and you are caught in the middle, feeling miserable. I say, don't strike back and don't turn the other cheek. Just watch the passion. Watch the devil wanting to hit and watch the God wanting to be a martyr. See them both as not you. You are the observer. You are the mustard seed that is watching the star. In that watching, the energy of the passion is not suppressed, it is recycled. It returns to your center. It makes you stronger, deeper, more silent. This is the forbidden truth. You don't need to overcome your passions. You just need to witness them. Awareness is the master key. It fits every lock. It opens the door to the devil's basement and the God's attic. And once you have seen the whole house, you will realize that the whole house is yours. You don't have to live in just one room. The mustard seed tree is a shelter for all the birds of heaven. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't say only the white birds can sit here. It welcomes the black crows, the grey pigeons, the colorful parrots. Your heart should be like that. Welcome all the birds of your thoughts and feelings. Don't try to shoo away the dark ones. They also have a song to sing. They also have a message from the universe. When you become a shelter for your own inner devil and gods, you become a shelter for the whole world. People will come to you because they will feel that they don't have to hide from you. They will feel that in your presence they can be total. This is the ultimate service you can perform for humanity. Not to build hospitals, not to give bread, but to give space, to give acceptance, to give wholeness. And as we prepare for the final part of our journey, I want you to take a deep breath. Feel the devil in the belly, the fire, the hunger, the life. Feel the God in the heart, the love, the silence, the light. And feel the you that is aware of both. That you is the mustard seed. That you is the zero space. That you is the only living truth. If you have found these words helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and share this video. Let's make this forbidden truth the new foundation for a conscious humanity. Your super thanks and joint support are what keep this channel moving forward. And check the description for our ebooks. They are the seeds we offer for your tilled earth. We will bring everything together. We will see the final flowering of the mustard seed and the total disappearance of the God and the devil into the suchness of the eternal. Be silent. Be total. Be here. Stay with this silence, but do not become attached to it. For even attachment to silence can become a new kind of devil. One of the 20 difficult things Buddha mentions in the discipline of transcendence is the difficulty of not abusing one's authority. Why is this so difficult? Because authority is the ultimate food for the ego. When you have power over others, whether you are a parent, a boss, a priest, or a politician, your devil feels like a god. You begin to believe that you are better, that you are higher, that you have the right to mold others in your own image. This is the most subtle trap of the divided mind. You think you are using your authority for good, but the very act of imposing your will on another is the greatest evil. It is a violation of the other person's mustard seed. Every human being has their own unique blueprint, their own way of flowering. When you use your authority to force them to be moral or obedient, you are killing their soul. You are acting as the devil while wearing the mask of God. True authority is not power over others. It is the power of your own presence. A Buddha has authority, but he has no power. He doesn't command you. He simply radiates. And in that radiation, you find the courage to be yourself. If you are finding the courage to be yourself through these words, I invite you to support this space of freedom. By clicking join, you help us maintain an environment where truth is more important than tradition. Your super thanks are a way to keep this light burning for everyone who is tired of being told who they should be, and for those who want to dive deeper into the mechanics of power and transcendence. Our ebooks offer a clear map through the jungle of the ego. Look at how you treat those who are below you. Are you kind only when they obey? Are you godly only when they fulfill your expectations? If so, your godliness is a sham. It is just a bribe. The moment they rebel, your devil comes out with all its fury. This shows that your God and devil are not two separate things. They are just two different reactions of the same ego. When the ego is flattered, it is God. When the ego is frustrated, it is the devil. The mustard seed doesn't have an ego. It doesn't want to be a master over other seeds. It just wants to become a tree. And once it becomes a tree, it gives shelter to everyone, even to those who might come to cut it down. This is the quality of suchness. It is a state of being where you are so whole that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to use your authority to feel significant. Your significance comes from your existence, not from your position. In God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I explain that the death of the puppeteer God is necessary for the birth of the responsible man. As long as you believe in a God who gives you authority, you will abuse it. But when you realize that there is no one above you and no one below you, that we are all just different expressions of the same consciousness, then authority disappears and only love remains. Love is the only authority that doesn't corrupt. But to reach that love, you must go through the difficult things. Buddha says it is difficult not to get into a passion when slighted. Why? Because the devil in you is very sensitive. He has a very thin skin. He wants to be respected. He wants to be worshipped. When someone slights you, they are poking a hole in your godly mask, and the devil inside screams. If you were truly whole, a slight would be like a stone thrown into the ocean. It might make a small ripple on the surface, but the depths remain undisturbed. Be the ocean, don't be a puddle. A puddle is easily disturbed, easily muddied. The ocean can swallow everything, the filth of the devil and the flowers of God, and remain the ocean. This is the wholeness I am talking about. It is a vastness that is big enough to include all contradictions. If you are ready to expand into that vastness, please share this video. The world is full of puddles, trying to act like oceans. Let's help people find their true depth. Your like and your comment are small actions, but they help this mustard seed reach the tilled earth of many hearts. And if you feel a deep gratitude for these insights, your super thanks and membership through Join are beautiful ways to keep this ripple moving. Remember, the devil is not out there in the world. He is the part of you that wants to control the world. The God is not in the sky. He is the part of you that has let go of all control. When the controller and the controlled both disappear, you are in Zen. You are in the living truth. You are the mustard seed that has finally realized it is the whole universe. And as the mustard seed grows, it doesn't leave the earth behind. It stays rooted in the mud. This is the beauty of transcendence. It doesn't mean leaving the earth. It means bringing the sky down to the earth. It means being so grounded in your devilish humanity that your godly spirit can finally find a home. Stop trying to be a spirit without a body. Stop trying to be holy without being human. Embrace the mud, for it is the mud that feeds the lotus. Without the devil, the God has no place to stand. Without the body, the soul has no way to sing. The soul has no way to sing without the body, and yet for centuries you have been taught to punish the singer. You have been told that the body is the devil's playground and that the soul is God's temple. But I tell you, the playground is the temple. The dance is the prayer. In the mustard seed, Jesus speaks of the kingdom of heaven as a reality that is right here, right now. But you cannot see it because you are looking through the spectacles of judgment. You have divided the indivisible. Think about the 20 difficult things again. Buddha says it is difficult to be strong and rich and still observe the way. This is because strength and richness give you the illusion of being a somebody. And the somebody is the only barrier to the suchness. The ego is like a parasite. It can live on anything. It can live on your godliness as easily as it lives on your devilishness. In fact, a religious ego is much more dangerous than a worldly ego. A worldly ego is at least honest. A religious ego is hidden behind 1,000 masks of humility. I want to strip away those masks. I want you to see that your desire for heaven is just another form of your devilish greed. You want to live forever. You want to be eternally happy. This is the same greed that wants more money and more power. Real spirituality is not about getting more. It is about becoming less. It is about becoming a zero space. If you are feeling the weight of your own somebodyness and want to find the lightness of nobodyness, I invite you to support our work. Your super thanks help us reach those who are still burdened by the weight of their egos. By clicking join, you become a part of a community that values being over having. And our ebooks are there to help you navigate this transition from the ego to the mustard seed of your true being. One of the most difficult things Buddha says is to disregard life and go to certain death. This is the ultimate forbidden truth. It doesn't mean committing suicide. It means the death of the self. The devil is the one who wants to survive at all costs. The God is the one who is willing to die into the whole. When you are willing to die, not as a physical body, but as a separate ego, then you are truly born. This is what Jesus meant when he said, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. You are the grain of wheat. Your gods and your devil are just the protective husks of the seed. If you keep the husks, the seed will never grow. You must be willing to let the husks rot in the dark, devilish mud of existence. Only then will the godly suit of the new life emerge. And that suit doesn't hate the husks. It knows that without them, it would never have survived the winter. This is the integration of the opposites. We are not trying to overcome the devil. We are trying to allow him to fulfill his purpose, which is to protect the God within until it is ready to flower. Once the flowering happens, the distinction between devil and God vanishes. There is only the flower. There is only the fragrance. In God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I explain that Zen is the fragrance of a dead God. When the person of God disappears, the presence of godliness remains. And that presence is in everything. It is in the rock, it is in the river, it is in the sinner, and it is in the saint. If you can see that, where is the devil? He has become part of the divine landscape. He is no longer a monster. He is just a shadow that gives depth to the light. If this vision of wholeness is touching something deep within you, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. We are breaking the old traditions to find the living truth. Your share and your comment are the ways we spread this mustard seed to the four corners of the world. And if you have been blessed with abundance, your super thanks and membership through Join are a way to share that blessing with the world of consciousness. Don't be afraid of your devilish desires. They are just the raw energy of your godly potential. If you try to kill the desire, you kill the energy. If you kill the energy, you kill the potential. Instead, bring awareness to the desire. Watch it as it arises. Watch it without judgment, and you will see a miracle. The desire itself becomes a ladder to the divine. This is the secret of the mustard seed. It is tiny, it is insignificant, but it contains the whole universe. You are tiny, you are insignificant, but you contain the whole universe. Your devil is the seed, and your God is the tree. They are not two, they are one process. Stop fighting the process. Surrender to it. Let the mustard seed of your soul fall into the tilled earth of your life. Let the old you die. Let the husks rot. And wait. In that waiting, in that silence, in that zero space, the miracle will happen. The tree will grow. The birds of heaven will come. And you will finally understand that the devil was the one who was planting the seed all along. Wait in that silence, for the waiting itself is a prayer. In the discipline of transcendence, I have discussed the difficulty of not hankering after that which is agreeable. This is the devil of comfort. You want things to be easy. You want things to be nice. You want your spirituality to be a pleasant dream. But real growth is not pleasant. It is a fire. It is the mustard seed breaking open. And breaking open is painful. The devil is the one who brings the pain. And God is the one who brings the bliss. But without the pain of the breaking, there can be no bliss of the flowering. You have been trying to have the flower without the breaking. You have been trying to reach God while avoiding the devil. And that is why you are stuck. You are a seed that is afraid to rot. I tell you, rot, disappear. Let the agreeable go. Embrace the disagreeable, for it is often the very medicine you need. The devil is the doctor who gives you the bitter medicine that cures your godly illusions. He is the one who sucks you out of your sleep. If everything were agreeable, you would sleep forever. You would never wake up to the living truth. If you are starting to wake up, if you are feeling the shock of these words, I invite you to support our mission. Your super thanks and your decision to join help us create more shocks for a sleeping world. We are here to disturb your peace so that you can find a deeper silence. And our e-books are the tools to help you stay awake in the midst of the world's dreams. Check them out in the links below. The mustard seed is a seed of disturbance. It doesn't leave the earth as it found it. It changes everything. When the kingdom of heaven enters your life, it doesn't make you a better person in the eyes of society. It makes you a new person. And the society will hate you for it. They will say you have been possessed by the devil. They said it of Jesus, they said it of Buddha, they said it of me. Why? Because the society lives through the no. It says no to the body, no to sex, no to laughter, no to freedom, and they call this no morality. I am here to teach you the yes. The yes that says yes to the body and the soul, yes to the earth and the sky, yes to the devil and God. In God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. I explained that Zen is the ultimate yes. It doesn't reject anything. It says that the ordinary mind is the Buddha mind. There is no need to go anywhere else. There is no need to become someone else. The devil you are fighting is just your Buddha nature, seen through the eyes of rejection. The moment you say yes to him, he is transformed. Think about this. If you say no to your darkness, the darkness remains. But if you bring a light into the dark room, where does the darkness go? It doesn't go anywhere. It was never there as a separate thing. It was just the absence of light. Your devil is just the absence of awareness. Don't fight the devil, just bring in the light. And the light is not God, the light is you. The light is your awareness. When you are aware, the devil and God both dissolve into the light. This is the forbidden truth that the priests are terrified of. They want you to keep fighting the devil so that you always need their God. But when you bring in the light, the whole business of religion collapses. You are free. If you feel this freedom calling you, please share this video. Let's help others turn on their own lights. Like the video and leave a comment. What is the no you have been saying to yourself that you are ready to turn into a yes? Your interaction helps the algorithm reach those who are still sitting in the dark, afraid of their own shadows. And if you want to be a pillar of this community, your super thanks and membership through Join are what make our work possible. The mustard seed doesn't have a no in it. It is a pure yes. It accepts the rain even if it is a storm. It accepts the sun even if it is burning. It accepts the wind even if it is a gale. And because it says yes to everything, everything helps it grow. The devil helps it, the God helps it, the mud helps it, the sky helps it. Be a mustard seed. Stop being a judge. Stop being a fighter. Be a yes sayer, and you will find that the kingdom of heaven is not a place you go to after you die. It is the quality of your yes right here and now. It is the suchness of this very moment. This suchness is the final destination, and yet it is where we started. We have come full circle. We begin with the devil and God as two enemies, and we have found them to be two lovers in a cosmic embrace. We begin with the mustard seed as a tiny, insignificant thing, and we have found it to be the shelter for the entire existence. In the discipline of transcendence, I have commented on the final sutras where Buddha speaks of the great path. The great path has no gates. It is open to everyone, but only those who are willing to lose themselves can enter. The devil is the one who holds on to himself. The God is the one who gives himself away. But in the end, both the holder and the giver must disappear. Only the giving remains. Only the flow remains. This is the forbidden truth. You are not the devil, and you are not God. You are the flow. You are the zero space in which both appear and disappear. You are the Buddha who is watching the whole drama from the center of the cyclone. I have spoken to you from many angles. I have used the words of Jesus, the silence of Zen, and the discipline of Buddha. But all these words were just fingers pointing at the moon. Don't bite my finger. Look at the moon. The moon is your own consciousness, shining in the dark night of the world. As we conclude this discourse, I want to thank you for being here with me. If these 12 parts have touched your heart, please subscribe and share this entire series. Let's create a revolution of consciousness. Your support through super thanks and your membership in the Join community are what allow us to keep this flame alive in a world of darkness. And our ebooks are my gift to you, a way to keep these mustard seeds in your pocket as you walk your path. Remember, the devil is not your enemy. He is the one who challenges you to be real. He is the one who forces you to find your own strength. And God is not your protector. He is the goal. that calls you to transcend yourself. If you kill the devil, you kill the challenge, and your God will die of boredom. Let them both live, let them both dance, and you just be the audience, you just be the purest space. God is dead, now Zen is the only living truth. This means that the old divided way of living is over. A new whole way of living is being born. It is a life of Zorba the Buddha. A life where you can enjoy the wine and the silence, the woman and the meditation, the devil and God. Don't be afraid. Existence is on your side. Even your devil is on your side if you only knew how to use him. Even your God is on your side if you only knew how to let him go. Go into the world now, but don't go as a good person or a bad person. Go as a whole person. Go as a mustard seed that is ready to become a tree. Give shelter to everyone you meet. Give them your silence. Give them your laughter. Give them your yes. And whenever you feel divided, whenever you feel the war is starting again, just remember, the devil and God are just the two banks of the river. The river is you, and the river is flowing to the ocean. The ocean doesn't care about the banks, it only cares about the water. Be the water, flow. I leave you with my love and my blessings. May you find the courage to be total. May you find the joy of being whole. May you find the mustard seed within you and let it become a universe. Goodbye for now, my beloved ones. But remember, in the silence of the zero space, we are always together. There is no coming and no going. There is only this. Be a light unto yourself.